Richard, you can take it away.
Amazing. So should we start?
Yes.
Alrighty. So
Here it
it's
is.
already 7. Hope that everyone is in here. So let's start with the structure. So as you guys know, the time is 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So the gender reviews and transition to speaker is going to be 7 p.m. to 7:05. It's going to be 5 minutes. The speaker presentation is going to be 7:05 to 7:25. It will last 20 minutes. Intermission, slide promotion, 7:25 to 7:27 is going to be 2 minutes. The Q&A session, 7:27 to 7:57, 30 minutes. Now the closing, it's 7:57 to 8. It's going to be 3 minutes. Feel free to introduce yourself and share your personal business and your information in the chat. Mute your microphones until the Q&A session begins. Of course, for respect for the speaker, she will have it on, and we'll just like you guys, to turn it off. If you guys can have your cameras on as possible, it will be better for an engagement for everyone. So hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Richard O'Valley. I'm speaker at Evolution of Leadership, and I'm so happy to have another Thursday event. I'm so happy because we have a really high profile speaker tonight. She's the founder of Higher Minds Education. She has been involved into the higher education industry for over 15 years. She has been working for public, private, and also the community colleges. She's an active volunteer in her church, the community, and also throughout the region. I'm so happy to announce that we have Felicia Young with us tonight. Miss Felicia, thank you so much.
Yeah, let's go.
We
Woo.
fully appreciate your presence for tonight.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. So happy. So, we are going to talk about something that people don't usually talk about a lot in leadership. So, I was thinking the whole time, I'm so excited to come on. What am I going to talk about? I was thinking all day, all week, all month, like, what am I going to talk about? So, I decided that I would talk about the moment that someone discovers that they are actually a leader. We talk a lot about self awareness, we talk a lot about what leaders should do, how leaders should act, how they should perform. But one day you're yourself, and the next day you're a leader. So, how does that happen? Like, do you have an aha moment? Does someone tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you're a leader now? Like, what happened? So for me, I was just being my regular old self, and then life happened. And one day I woke up, and then people were asking me for advice about life and relationships and school and just everything, right? So I kind of thought about my journey of leadership and how did I get here? It is amazing to be a leader, but lots of people try really hard to be a leader. But sometimes it's not necessary for you to like try, because we often hear about managers who are managers but not really leaders. So those are people who are like actively trying to be the boss, right? You don't want to try to be the boss because then it looks like you're trying, right? So being a leader is something that kind of evolves naturally. So one day you're being regular old you, life starts to happen. So you start to go through ups and downs, merry-go-rounds, through the thorn bushes and everything. And then you have experience. So then when people see you survive, then they're like, hey, well, how did you make it through that? And so me being a leader was a total surprise to me because I was just living my everyday life, and then I became an expert. Me, an expert? I'm just trying to just do what I can to just make it through. So, I would like to tell those who are seeking to become leaders or who want to be leaders just to be authentic. Like, I have 3 ways for you to know if you are emerging into a leader and you just didn't even realize. Okay. So, the first way is you always find the silver lining in everything, right? Because most leaders are able to find a positive out of a chaotic situation, right? So if you're able to encourage other people and also see the brighter side of things or the glass half full instead of empty, you are probably emerging into a leader, right? Okay. The second way is people are always coming to you for advice, right? So you're thinking to yourself, like, why are they contacting me? But you have gained lots of knowledge through school, your professional life, your personal life, things like that. So people see you making it through, they feel like you're an expert because life isn't taking you down. You're still surviving. So you become an expert, right? The third way is that you actually care about people. People know when you actually care. Like you can tell if someone actually really cares, or you can tell if they're pretending, right? So when your authenticity shines through, people can tell. So those are the three ways that I tell young leaders that they are able to measure if they are becoming leaders in their community, right? You're out doing community service, you're out helping, you're out mentoring, you're out doing different things. Those are the things that are leading you to become the best leader, not trying to obtain positions of power. That doesn't really make you a leader. That just makes you a person in charge, right? But you can be in charge by being a leader, but that will come naturally for you, right? So, as I mentor young people and talk to them about leadership, I often tell them to be patient with themselves because lots of leaders are very, very hard on themselves. Like we have a perfectionist like mindset. Like you think that you have to be perfect because people are watching or people are using you as an example. But yet you have to, be kind to yourself as you are to others. Because my first thing was you are able to find the silver lining. A lot of times, leaders are able to find the silver lining for other people and be very, very difficult on themselves. So you have to make sure that you are being kind to yourself as you are to others, right? So leadership is something that I feel like just evolves naturally. It's not anything that you have to force or you have to like press through. It will happen for you. Yeah. So like I told you guys, I was thinking about leadership and what to do and all of that. So, with my scholarship that we are offering for a student through my company, Higher Minds, I asked the question, in the crazy world that we live in, how do you change the world? That is how you plant a seed in a young person to create them to start thinking about leadership, right? Because we all have a part to play in the world. We all have something to do. We all our little bit all makes a difference. So by me asking that question, I got tons of essay responses with people with great answers of how they think they can change the world and make it a better place. And so by encouraging young minds, we are creating a new crop of leaders. So I'm super excited about creating that scholarship and getting them to think about those certain things. Are there any questions for me about leadership?
Wonderful, wonderful. Before we move on to the questions part real quick, Alexis, do you want to make the announcement?
Yes. So thank you, Felicia. That was amazing. I just wanted to announce that Evolution of Leadership are going to have a branch going into the CSUDH campus very soon. So we're very excited for that. A lot of hard work. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Angel. Um, yeah, we're going to have a little EOL in there too.
Yes, definitely. This is going to be our first official branch. We're officially launching in colleges, and we're going to be beginning with CSUDH. Thanks so much, Alexis. So, the audience, do you have any questions for the speaker?
Also, remember, this is your opportunity to be a leader because leaders ask great questions.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I hopped in a little late, but I kind of got like a background information about the speaker, and I see that you were a professor at a community college and various universities around the country, and so I would just like to say, and the last when I joined, the thing I heard or that came into my mind is like that we all sometimes we all at least personally, we all have like a part to play. We all have a part to play, in it, and then it comes naturally. And I always, at least in my I guess in my experience, I feel like something that's true because I seen a lot of people, you know, that say they want to be leaders or they want to do something, but I read this quote saying that sometimes it's like, you know, the better like, so everyone wants to change the road, but in reality you can't. The only thing, like, but they don't want to change themselves. So it's like, I feel sometimes when you change yourself, I think you could change your own road, and therefore I think others could probably see that. But I think that's the thing that I just wanted to point out. And also a thing I wanted to ask you, how is it like, I guess that you got the experience to like to be a professor at various colleges and universities?
What was the question?
So how did you get the opportunity to be a teacher for other colleges? Like, I see that you were, if I'm not mistaken, that you were a professor for a university, community college, and like private colleges and so on.
Okay, yeah, not a professor, but I worked in student services. So I
Okay.
worked in student services, financial aid, admissions, recruitment, things like that. So I absolutely love students. I have to work in financial aid. We all know financial aid is crazy. So yes, I absolutely love working with college students and high school students, helping them navigate the waters of higher education, figuring out how to pay for college, helping them figure out just how to get through the red tape of financial aid and different services that they need. So I absolutely love it. How I got the opportunity, that's a funny story. So I graduated from college. And as you guys know, you get kicked off of your parents' insurance when you graduate from college. So I was getting kicked off and I worked at a mental health agency. And the lady told me that I should apply for a financial aid job to make sure that I could get some insurance. So I applied on the last day of the application period, end up having the interview first and got the job. And so I started on the first crazy day of college and I fell in love with financial aid. It was a crazy day. I did not sit down, I did not eat lunch. I was just running from place to place with papers and helping students, but I absolutely fell in love. And here I am 15 years later, still going crazy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that info.
Awesome. Thank you, Joseph, for the question, and thanks, Felicia, for the answer. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh, go for it.
Oh,
Angel had a question.
Oh, all right, sure. All right. I'm actually very curious as to what came about your mindset when thinking about how people become leaders naturally, because you know how like even when I was first getting into leadership, I was like, oh, I gotta get the new leadership books, I gotta get this, gotta get that, I gotta watch that video, learn this principle. But a lot of it, I wasn't really focused on how I already was a leader, right?
Right.
Or what stage of the development I was even in during that time. Yeah, I'm just curious as to what inspired. Sorry about that. I was curious as to what inspired that thought to occur in regards to the natural part of leadership.
I think for me, it was the realization that people were actually thinking that I was an expert. Like that was my aha moment. When people were like, "Hey, let me ask you things about stuff I don't know." So it didn't really happen just like boom, it happened over time. I kind of was like you, like, I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. I want, I want to be the boss. I want to be in charge. And that didn't really work out that well. So, I kind of just started, like I said, going through things like, I'll tell you, I went to college in New Orleans. So I don't know if you guys know anything about New Orleans, but New Orleans is like a party town. Okay. So I graduated from high school. I went there, had a great GPA, full ride, scholarships. I bombed out my first semester. The college lady bombed out the first semester, right? So I had been a leader, got myself there, but that was a necessary thing for me to almost flunk out my first semester Because when I meet other students, me working in colleges, I tell them about my experience. So, it's those things that lead you to leadership. It's not really your actions, the things that you are trying to do. It's the things that are just happening to you that will kind of lead you there. Now, your desire to be a leader is admirable. Like, people like that you take charge, but you have to have something to give back. And so only the craziness of life gives you the experience to give back.
Wow. That was definitely awesome. The craziness of life, you said, is gives you something to give back. That's wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get beautiful flowers without rain,
Oh
without
yeah.
pruning the roses. You have to. Like, it's all of the chaotic, crazy, why is this happening to me stuff that you look back and like, that was the pivotal moment in my life. That's how people become millionaires or successful speakers, or it's like all the tragedy. What's the lady name that did the Harry Potter series? She was depressed and like was not a happy person, had a lot going on in her life, but now she wrote those books, it became movies, she's multi-millionaire, but that only happens if her life falls apart. We don't get Harry Potter if her life doesn't fall apart. So it's those things that kind of push you and become an inspiration to others.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much, Felicia, for that. Does any am I echoing? I'm not
Yes,
sure.
you are.
Oh, he
Hmm. All right. Well, does anybody else have a question? Let's go ahead and move forward with that.
well, I have a few other things to say if nobody has any
Oh,
other questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and so another thing that I would want a upcoming leader to know and to do is to find other leaders as mentors, someone that you deem as a leader, because you can only be a great leader if you are a great follower. So if you have someone who has more, achieved more, someone that you look up to, something that did something that you thought was fantastic, seek those people out as a mentor, because that can help you also in your development of becoming a leader. Like, seeing other people, I surround myself with tons of women, men who are uber successful, who have businesses, they make millions of dollars, and I'm just struggling along as a as a solopreneur doing this crazy college thing. But I surround myself by people who are in places that I want to be, who are great speakers, who are authors, things like that. So whatever you want to be, find someone who is on that track and get a mentor. That will definitely help.
That's awesome. Thank you, Felicia. We actually do have a mentor for EOL, William Korea, and he's definitely helped a lot. We pointed us in the right direction. So we do see the results in that, and we agree 100%.
yeah. Can I also speak a little bit on your point, Felicia, in regards to mentorship?
Right.
Um, so one thing to also notice is a lot of people want to mentor. Like sometimes people will think like, oh no, I don't want to ask this person to be my mentor because they're probably going to say no, right? But a lot of people are actually seeking for people to mentor because they want to leave a legacy. Leaving that legacy behind, that's what a true leader also looks for, you know. So yeah, I think Felicia hit it spot on. But yeah, find a mentor. It's 100% good.
It can only be a help to you. It won't hinder you. It would be a great experience. I advise 2 or 3 mentors, just someone to be able to talk to, someone to be able to bounce ideas off of, someone to say, yeah, I think that's great, or no, it sucks, or, just someone to get honest feedback from, because they have been where you are. I try to be that for my students. Like, I will tell them every crazy thing that happened to me. Like, I have freshmen that come in and they want to be nurses, but everybody's afraid of blood. Okay, well, you can't be a nurse if you're afraid of blood. So just, those things, like, you feel that way right now, everything is great, but when things start to happen, like, don't give up. If you need somebody to talk to, contact me, come into my office, let me know. Let's try to work it out. Like, I am an unintentional mentor to these students, but they know that I'm there for them. Like they are probably not thinking about me until something crazy happens, but I'm there to like help them navigate. Because as we know, when you go to college, crazy things always happen your freshman year. Like everything that could go wrong will go wrong. But you need someone to help encourage you to, get you to the next level. So yeah, mentorship is a great thing.
Awesome. Let's see. Let's get a question from the audience. Did Richard have a question? I think that we kind of spoke around the same time.
Yeah, it will be fast, real quick. Like, Felicia, thank you so much, first of all, to be here and everything, to provide this value to everyone, because this is really helpful, even for EOL team, because we're into the personal growth like day by day. So in that case that we're having a personal growth on us, we can, not be those mentors that we mentioned right now, but we can, help other people and the youth, most of anything, about like these kind of transitions. So since I heard that you've been, working like a lot, I heard that you skipped some meals. It was a time that you felt like overwhelmed. And if so, how do you control, that aspect? How do you control that balance of overwhelming, then a lot to do, then your own life? And also, I mean, something that many people do not mention is, like your not happiness, but your attitude, your well-being toward other people. Because sometimes something that I notice, people that are like extremely busy, or even myself, for experience, when I get into like the busyness environment that I have like a lot to do, we tend somehow to have a little, mood swings, or a little moody, a bad mood. And that's something that, I mean, that's normal. Sometimes that's normal. But the hard part is, to have that control on yourself and do not take that rage out of the circle that you're, focusing it. So how was it with you?
Okay, so two-part question. Do I ever get exhausted? I'm exhausted right now. Every day. Every day is like it's crazy, it's chaotic, because of course we don't live one-dimensional lives. We have school, we have work, we have families, we have friends, we have community organizations, fraternities, just all these things that we we have to do. So yes, we are all exhausted. I am exhausted every day, all day. However, I have to step away sometimes and take a moment, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and just breathe. Just take a moment to breathe and say, it's okay. And if I have like a crazy week coming up, I make sure that I make a to-do list. And I mean old school to-do list, paper and pen, because sometimes we can get so caught up in electronics and it's overwhelming, social media, all that. So I get a piece of paper and a pen, and I write down everything that I have to do, not to be overwhelmed. Because if I check it off one by one, then I know I'm getting something done. Because sometimes how you have lots of things going on and it's all swirling in your head, so it's like you're not getting anything done. I have to get my paper and my pen and do a to-do list, right? So that's how I manage the exhaustion and trying to keep it all together. Okay. Attitude. I'm a very positive person just naturally. And I always am told this by people, like, you always seem so happy. It's not that I always am just happy. I'm just pleased that life is going good, and I'm able to help someone. Because sometimes when I'm like dealing with a lot of stress, the one thing that I like to do is help other people. That makes me feel better. So I will throw myself into work helping my students, and that will keep my attitude positive. So I just try to find things that I enjoy. Like one day I had like a real sucky yucky day. And so I was like, what can I do to break out of this mood? I was like, yeah, I can go make a video for my students on my social media page. So after I was done making that live video, laughing, talking about financial aid, fussing at them about not completing scholarships, I felt like a totally different person. So just trying to find things that make you happy, and just remembering that this bad moment won't last forever is something that helps me with my attitude. And just stepping away from people helps.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow. I like what you mentioned right now about just stepping away from people, because that means you have you're so self-aware that you understand that during that moment you just may blow up on somebody. I mean, it happens sometimes. So yeah, I mean, definitely glad you mentioned that. That's very, very important.
That's why you have to like really make sure that you are not taking on too much, because sometimes that's another thing we can do as leaders, take on too much, and it can become overwhelming, and then you blow up, and then everybody's thinking, well, what's going on with them, like why are they freaking out? It's because we've taken on too much and we're mentally exhausted. That's why a to-do list is a good thing, stepping away is a good thing, being self-aware that I am doing too much and I need to take a step back, having a calm conversation with yourself, a moment just alone, doing something that you enjoy, even if it's just sitting reading for 5 minutes, something just that will take you away, because we can just get overwhelmed doing so many things. But you have to stay focused and then get back to the business.
Wow, it's awesome. I believe Richard's hand is up.
Yes, I am Richard.
You can go ahead, buddy.
Richard, do you also have one?
Alexis has.
Yeah, you can go first.
Oh no, go for it, Richard. I just didn't think you had it. But you go for it, bro. I'll go after.
It is actually a little fast. It's not personal, but for example, the days that you've been like, overwhelmed, and that you said that you were tired, when you wake up like really, really tired, and it's sometimes more for this weather that you're like a little, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. What is your motivation to do it? And which has been during, your transition of your business, skipping meals, and so on?
Really, it is my student. Like when people tell you if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, is really true. Like I just went through this business class and they were talking about how many hours I actually spend doing things, because sometimes you don't really think about how much time you're spending doing certain things until someone else brings it to your attention. I work so much, like working with my students, that I didn't even realize I was giving so much of myself, which is why I'm exhausted, right? So, because I love students and I love working with students, and students wait to the last minute to do everything, they forget what you tell them to do, all of that, all the crazy, chaotic things, they lose papers, they're just all over the place because they're students. I appreciate all of that because I was that student. I never did my financial aid on time. I'm a financial aid person. Isn't that crazy? Life is karma. So, I mean, I never did anything on time. So I am really helping myself when I help my students. But I really enjoy working with students. I really love financial aid. I really helping students like not get into debt with trying to achieve their dream, because as we know, there's $1 billion student loan debt. And I try to help students find scholarships and things to make sure that they don't go into debt, because people tell you it's good debt. But now when you graduate and you can't pay it, it doesn't look like it's good debt. So my students are really my motivation. That really is true.
The fact that you're helping them, right?
Yes.
The fact that you're putting something in the community.
Right. And then I'm able to help them in ways that people help me.
Alrighty. Oh, that's what when it comes when you say that you provide what you get. Okay.
Right.
Amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alexis, go ahead.
Thank you. So I was just I'm kind of curious because you mentioned when things get overwhelming, it's not a good thing as a leader. Um, does a mentor kind of is a mentor kind of like they're also kind of like as like the first check-in? If like you're overwhelmed, your mentor will tell you, hey, slow, like how you doing, like and then if even after that you're still overwhelmed, or does a mentor like from your experience, do you have your mentors kind of just like tell you like have they ever given you feedback on that, or are the conversations different?
I talk to my mentors about everything, about how I'm feeling, about the business, about, just things that are happening with the students, just, business, relationships with other people, things like that. And I've gotten really good feedback. One lady who, she was a realtor. And so we met because she sold me my house. And so her and I just became friends. She was like one of the top realtors in our area. So I would talk to her when I began the business, and I would be so stressed out, like, trying to acquire contracts and clients and just figuring it all out for myself. And she gave me a piece of advice that was priceless to me. She said, do not stress about it because it will all happen. But if you stress and take on all of that negative energy, it can make you sick. So you just keep doing it. Do not stress. Just keep working hard. It will work itself out. Like you are thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to, how am I going to pass these classes? Just whatever your stress is. As we all know, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be, right? Like we over analyze and overthink everything, but it's never going to be that bad. And that was the best piece of advice because starting out, I had 2 clients. I didn't know if I was going to get contracts. I didn't know, just worrying about how it would all work out. And she told me, do not stress. Do your part and the universe will do the rest. Like you just do, but don't stress because that's not going to help you. That's only going to distract you more because you're not focused, right? So that was a piece of advice that she gave me. And I tell everyone that, like, you just get focused, do your part, and the rest will work itself out. So yeah, talk to your mentor about everything. Like, especially if they have some level of experience and knowledge, they can really help.
Awesome, awesome. I do have a question myself.
Okay.
So I would like to ask you, what skills do you feel are most effective for a leader to have when leading a team? What skills do you feel are most vital?
What do I feel is most vital for a leader to have in a team?
When leading a team?
I think that the one thing that a leader should have is compassion, right? Because sometimes when you have been where your team is going, like, you're the leader and they're all taking their direction from you, people make mistakes, people do things, no one's perfect, right? So I think just having compassion for other people in the event that they make mistakes or in the event that they are not doing things at the capacity that you want them to do, right? Having compassion for where they are can really help that person grow as a leader because you never know like what you say, how it can affect someone, right? So we have to kind of be mindful of what we say and how we say things. So just having compassion for other people's feelings and how where they may be in life is a good thing for a leader to have.
Makes sense. Thank you very much. Awesome. Any other questions?
I have one thing that just kind of following up on that. There's one specific person that I kind of look up to. And the way he goes about it, he's not, he's very, I would say everything that he's given a chance to, he has. So he hears people. He's kind of gone through a lot when it comes to stuff like that. But he's tough love, man. he's tough love, and he always says like, I don't care about your short term feelings or your short term. I don't care. And he goes, I don't care much of my own short term feelings, and he says, I care more of your long term results. And I just think, wow, there are so many ways of going about building people up, essentially. Um, and I just kind of wanted to just reflect on that because we've had I think we've had like versions of both. Um, um, and yeah, like I think maybe like me personally, I just noticed a lot of women are just in tune to like understanding people more. That's just like I just see it more. I'm like, dang, I'm just not good at it. um,
Got it. Got it.
Well, what I think is I'm definitely straightforward, especially with my friends. Like I'm definitely the friend that you can call that's gonna say, "Oh no, that was stupid." Why did you do that? So I'm very, straightforward with my friends to tell them about things that they ask me about. So I do understand what he means in terms of not being concerned about how you feel right now, because your feelings are not important right now because you're just having a pity party, and your long-term results are what matters. And he seems like a person who would give it to you straight. Everybody can't handle that. Now that everybody can't handle straightforward. So, that may break some, but for people who surround themselves by him, they're probably able to ingest that. So I am a person who's very straightforward with my friends. Now with students, because they're students, I have to kind of coddle them along a little bit because they're young, and so but people who are actually like contacting me to say, "Hey, Miss Felicia, what do you think?" I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's not do that. Let's do something else. So I love that too. I think I'm a balance of the two. But that's great though. Keep him.
Awesome,
Keep him
awesome.
straight.
Felicia, so VD is having some technical difficulties, but she put the question on the chat. She asked, what can one do as a leader when the organization of someone is being impacted by negativity?
Okay. As a leader, what I would do is I would bring everyone together to the table at one time, right? Because the way to stop something is to confront it head on. I don't really like when people use like not direct. They're just kind of like, well, someone is no, 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 no. Let's discuss what happened, and let's get to the point so we can get rid of the negativity, because sometimes there's a lot of miscommunication going on. So we have to get to the root of what the problem is. So to have people meet and discuss what the issue really is how I think you tackle the negativity, because then that stops it. It does two things. It lets everyone involved know that you as the leader will take charge to end the negativity by any means necessary to confront the problem head on, right? And it will give the person who is being bothered by the negativity some type of reassurance that you have their back to stop this, because bullying happens at work. Bullying happens at school, right? So we have to get rid of that negativity by having a stance and not engaging in the negativity, making sure that you bring it to the forefront and deal with it head on. Yeah, addressing
I think she really enjoyed your answer. She's like
it.
super smiling about the answer. Nice, nice. Wow, that was definitely a good question. Even when you were saying that, I was like, "What? That's very true."
Yeah,
It's good.
because you have that, you'll encounter negativity in different situations, and sometimes things can fester if you don't say anything. So I've always found it to be a good thing just to tackle it head on and end it right there instead of just letting it fester, because it can make the other person feel uncomfortable, especially if it's two people having an issue. The other person can feel bullied or feel like they're not being supported because no one is taking charge. They're just kind of like, hey, well, somebody said, and we're trying to fix. No, no, no. Let's just let's just get it all out into the open.
The truth shall set you free.
It shall.
Yep, yep. Awesome. I see John laughing there as well.
I think everything's actually funny what she said.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Nah, I'm kind of new because actually Joe is the one who invited me to this leadership. So I just want to thank him for inviting me twice.
Nice, nice. All right. Well, if any question pops up, feel free to ask any questions, man.
All right.
Awesome, awesome. All right. So let's see. Does anyone else have a question on here?
I have a business question. So
Ooh.
Felicia, as a solopreneur, people who want to become a solopreneur like you or want to become an entrepreneur, what should they consider first? What should be the first steps of things that they think about, the advantages and the disadvantages?
The first thing they should think about is, do you want to work harder than you've ever worked in your entire life? Because a lot of people think of entrepreneurship as an easy way out. It is like the hardest thing I've ever done, like ever in my life. Like, you can make $2,000 today, like, whoo, I'm on top of the world, and not have another sale for 2 months. And you're thinking, no, I need to go work and get a job. Like, you're stressing out. So it's the hardest thing you've ever done. So if you are prepared to work really, really, really hard and work on the weekend, after hours, doing anything that you can to make your dream come true, that is the first thing I would tell them. Like, don't romanticize it. Are you ready to work? Are you ready to hear 1,000 no's before you hear one yes? If you are, then you are ready to be an entrepreneur. You are not ready if you are looking for someone to pacify you, if you are looking for an easy way out. You have to work. And I mean, like, capital WORK, work, exclamation point, all bold, 76 font. Yes, work. It is a lot of work, but it is definitely worth it. But it's a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work. But once you get past that, if you still want to do it, then I would advise everyone to put together a business plan. Like, a business plan is something that you really, really need. It will kind of give you a roadmap to what you're going to do, your next steps. Also, find programs in your city or your state that can help you. There are lots of programs that can help a up and coming entrepreneur, like, know what steps to take about getting your LLC, about any licenses that you may need, any information you need to know about how to structure your business. Find someone who is professional to help you, and there are plenty of free programs out to help someone do that. So I would say do your research. Like, you don't have to pay someone to do everything. I actually just did a program, which was a small business certification program, completely free because of COVID. So you just have to go out and research and look to find those type of programs, but you can get it done. So yeah, just planning, being prepared, and getting ready to work.
Thank you for this straightforward answer. I always prefer it when someone is being direct. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. It's rewarding though. To be able to do something that you love is really rewarding, but it is really a lot of work. Meeting you guys was just through a guy I met doing a networking event, right? So he asked me, he told me all about your great organization. I was like, oh yeah, I would love to talk to them about leadership and just whatever, entrepreneurship and things like that. So, just being an entrepreneur puts you in those type of circles. Because if I would have never stepped out and decided to go for my dreams, I would never met you guys. And so I'm so happy that I met you. So, just stepping out on faith, it was a great thing.
Was the guy you were talking about William?
Yes.
That's our mentor.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I actually had a question too. It's also in regards to business. So, like you mentioned just now, networking. How important do you feel networking is when it comes to being an entrepreneur, well, a solopreneur, and also, yeah, what kind of impact has it had on your life, just throughout your entire life in regards to your entrepreneurship journey?
Networking is a huge thing. Like, that is the number one thing that you need if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Like, you cannot be afraid to talk to people. You have to be able to have your elevator speech ready and encounter anybody that you know to tell them everything that you do. Even if you're like at Whataburger and somebody says, hey, what do you do? You're ready, prepared, because you don't know. You don't know who you're meeting and where it can take you, right? So that is something that I love to do. I actually engage people on social media. If they have something that's similar to my business or connects to it or something I'm interested in, I see it, I reach out to them. I reach out to either have lunch before COVID, but now to have like Zoom meetings to like, hey, I want to tell you about my business. Can you tell me about your business? And I actually get a lot of contracts that way. Like, I just got my most recent contract because I reached out to a lady who has a tutoring program, she had a relationship with a foundation. She was like, oh my God, you will be great to work with this organization. She connected us and I got a contract. So networking is how you can make lots of money and lots of connections. And sometimes the connections are better than receiving money because it will lead you to the next opportunity. So networking is a fantastic, fantastic thing to do.
So true.
And you're always doing it all the time, everywhere.
And you know, starting out a business is a very risky move, obviously. And however, at the end of the rainbow, it does have its payoffs. How can someone mitigate the risk in a business? How can someone decrease the risks?
You can decrease the risk by being prepared and by planning, right? Some things you just can't plan for. But like I said, by having a business plan, by putting yourself in position to meet people who can help you build your business in the initial stages can really help offset a lot of things that could go wrong, right? So by already having a tax preparer, someone to help you be able to do HR things or just, you know, initial business things can really help set a firm foundation. You're still going to have to market, you're still going to have to find clients, you're still going to have to, you're going to have the waves of really, really good success, bad months, bad weeks, things like that. But planning is how you decrease the risk by going ahead and putting a firm foundation first. It's the foundation.
Wonderful, wonderful. That actually leads me to a similar question in a sense. What would you feel are the most important positions to focus on when first starting your business? Obviously, things like accounting, sales, marketing, everything is important. But what would you say should be your main focus when first starting out?
Have a clear vision of what you want to do, right? Sometimes we can start, a business or have an idea and we're kind of like all over the place, right? So you have to actually have an idea of what you want to do. So if you want to start a clothing business, right? Starting off, you can't sell like clothes to everybody. Women, children, men, people, tall, slim, you can't be all over the place. You have to have a focus. So if you're going to sell clothes to a family, you need to figure out how you're going to market this, right? If you're going to sell clothes, men's clothes, then you need to figure out how you're going to market these things. So having a clear vision of what you want to do initially will kind of help you build that bridge to making it to the next step, because you can kind of just be all over the place in your mind because you have a million thoughts going on, because you want to do a good job, you want to be successful, you want to do something that people will like, so you kind of got to have a clear vision. And another thing, which is not related to your question, but I just have to throw it in there, you need to have tough skin. I mean, like alligator, tough, super tough, because people
Agreed.
are going to be very, very critical of your business, because being an entrepreneur is not something that a lot of people they want to do, but not something that people are really successful in. So people will, have snide comments or, say, oh no, that's not going to work. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the restaurant Raising Cane's. So
Yes.
you guys heard, okay, so you may know his story. Like he went to LSU and his teacher was like, oh no, this business plan is not gonna work. Who's gonna buy chicken and french fries? Like no one would do that. But now he's like super successful. Like, so she was wrong. But I mean, that criticism did push him to, work harder, make sure that he had a vision, make sure that he had a plan, that he was able to save and get stuff. I mean, like, so the criticism can push you, but you have to really be prepared for it because it can hurt your feelings, because it will come from people that you love and know best. So you have to be prepared for that as well. Like alligator skin, tough, ready for war.
Wow, thank you for that. I see here that Peter has his hand up actually. Did you have a question, Peter?
It might be by mistake. Not sure. Well, Viri also asked a question in the chat. She asked, what can one do when someone has a past issue with someone but has to team up with them in a professional setting? How can one resolve it?
Okay, let's see. Okay, when you say a past issue, is it still current? Was it resolved? Or is it still lingering?
Looks
Because
like
that makes a
she's,
difference. I know she's typing.
yeah.
It was resolved. Okay, so it should not be an issue. If we resolved it, I mean, like really resolved it, not pretend resolved, for real resolved it, then it shouldn't be an issue. You guys may want to have a conversation about it first. Like, just, I know in the past we may have had an issue, but I know we resolved it. Just making sure we're on the same track so we can be successful in moving forward with our project. Like you can maybe say something general to that effect. Um, but if it's really solved, then it shouldn't be any type of issue. As long as you both are being adults and responsible and know that you have a common goal, then it should work itself out. I can see having an initial conversation just to make sure that you guys are on the same page. But yeah, it should not be any type of issue. Have the conversation, be successful, knock the project out the box. My advice. You're welcome.
Awesome. Seems like something might be going on in your team or something.
Yeah, Mrs. Lopez has something going on.
Yeah. But it's okay. We all go through things like that,
We do. And you'll find that in school that, you may be teamed up with someone that you may not have the most positive relationship with, but you can, that's with like work or any other thing, family, you have to find a way to put your personal issues to the side to be successful. Like that's a skill that you're just gonna have to work on perfect. Like, even if the issue wasn't resolved and you're in a class setting or a work setting with someone who you have an issue with, if the issue doesn't come up while you guys are working, you can just put it to the side and get it done. Like everything is not going to be a perfect situation, but you guys can be adult enough to say, hey, we don't like each other personally, but we're in this group professionally and we both want A's or we both want raises or whatever the situation is, and work towards that common goal. So yeah, it's going to be all right, Miss Lopez.
Awesome. I see here. So Peter asked a question on the chat. How do you deal with networking business people who just have no regards to what your company has to offer, even when you used PowerPoint to wake them up?
Okay, you will encounter people who just don't need your services, right? Everything isn't for everybody. You just move on to the next person. That's why networking is a continuous thing. It's not something that you do once and done. You can do it all the time, because I've met tons of people who don't think that, what I'm doing has any value. But I've met tons of people who think it's a great idea and it brings tons of value. There are lots of companies who do what I do that are nonprofit organizations, right? So they do a lot of what I do for free, but I don't. I like work with schools, and so I do, what I do and get paid for it. So people are like, why don't you turn into a nonprofit? Why don't you, that's not something that I want to do. I want it to be a business. So that way I can try to still have some measure of control of the direction. Because as you know, when you become a nonprofit, you have a board and, you have to run a lot of things through that. And I have lots of other dreams for my business. Like this is just the initial step. Like I want to branch out into speaking events and branch out to, creating things to help kids who are foster care students and students who are non-traditional. I want to do tons of things. So, where someone else may see another vision, I have my own vision for my business. So if you're networking with someone and they are not in line with what you have for your company, they're just not meant to be your business partner. Just keep pressing on. You'll find someone who agrees with what you think is best. Keep working, keep moving. Don't stop.
Wow.
It says I'm promoting Ronald McDonald House charity work. They all need my company. Cool. Any last minute questions? We have 5 minutes left, guys. Joseph asks, what's your company? You wanna tell him a little about your company, Felicia?
Okay. It is called Higher Minds of Education. It is a higher education, I was reading the chat. It's a higher education consulting company where I help students and families and community organizations as well as schools help students prepare for college and career readiness. So I've done a lot of work with helping students apply for and find scholarships as well as complete FAFSA and other financial aid documents and college admissions. I am currently developing a new program called the Excel program, where I will be helping high school students and those re-entering the workforce prepare for career readiness. Talking about things such as resumes, as well as verbal and nonverbal communication, how to complete a resume, things like that. So I do a lot with college and career readiness for traditional students 18 to 22, as well as non-traditional students 24 and older. Exciting work.
Awesome.
Oh
So
yeah.
you have it, Joseph.
There you go. I just want to let everybody know as well. We're also going to be partnering with Higher Minds of Education for the scholarship work that they're doing. Well, Felicia Young is doing. So very, very excited to help her out as well. And yeah, this is what networking can bring. We're very, very excited to do this. So it seems like it's already 7:57. So we're going to go ahead and use this time to close out. So thanks everybody for hopping on this call with us. Remember, next Thursday, we also have another Leadership Thursday as well. Yeah, very, very excited, guys. And also, Felicia, actually, my apologies. Do you have any one last thing to tell everybody that's on this chat before we close off?
The one last thing I would like to tell everyone is that I enjoyed talking to you guys. I can't wait to have another conversation with you. Leadership is something that is important to me, and I like to encourage students and everyone just to make sure that they are feeding what's inside of themselves, to make sure that they are being leaders and influencing others to be their best selves. Check out Higher Minds of Education website, www.hmofed.com, to see our latest updates, or the Facebook page, or Instagram. Also, thank you to you guys for having me on. This was a great talk. I enjoyed talking about entrepreneurship as well as leadership. You guys had great questions and engaging conversation. Thank you so much.
By the way, Angel, this is Alan. You can't see me because right now my camera. Anyway, bottom line is, you said that there's a meeting next week, next Thursday, yes. Thanksgiving.
Oh, never mind. We actually do not have a meeting during Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
And then if you could just, and again, anytime during this next week, go ahead and touch base with me, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be speaking in December.
Yes.
So you'll just contact me and let me know, because I'm not sure. I haven't looked further ahead on the calendar, but I know it's sometime in December. You let me know which Thursday it is.
I will actually be emailing you this Saturday. So
fair enough. Thank you. Awesome. And just be prepared for something very different.
Mm-hmm. All right. Awesome.
Felicia is very, very, very well done. By the way, I need to ask you, where are you from?
Louisiana.
Where in Louisiana? My wife is a nice Southern girl from New Orleans.
Okay, I live in Baton Rouge.
Okay, fair enough.
I love New Orleans.
Yeah, I guess you love LSU too, don't you?
I'm not really a football person, but yeah, LSU.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so
Thank
Yeah, my
you
wife
for
goes back almost
listening,
every
Alan.
year. My wife goes back almost every year. Of course, not this past year, and doesn't look like she'll be going this year, but usually goes back almost every year for Mardi Gras.
I know. I love Mardi Gras. They just canceled it, but yeah,
It
thank
was
you
just
for
just
listening
to
so
say,
much.
you're
Alan.
right. They just canceled it, and I feel bad for the city. They're going to lose, over $1 billion easy.
Yeah.
But and it's sad. Louisiana has gotten hit pretty bad with a number of different things, but whatever.
Also, real quick, we'll have to end this meeting right here and now out of respect for everyone, because I know the team also has other things to do, and I'm a grad student too. Well, thank you everyone, and Felicia Young is on LinkedIn too if you want to connect with her, Alan, and anyone else. Thank you everyone, and you have a wonderful day.
Everyone be good. Have a good Thankksgiving. I'm
All right.
looking
You
for one.
guys enjoy your holiday.
Thank you. Likewise.
Get it.